Chapter 10. How HeyMax becomes market leader. Second question, and the first thing to do is pick a category you can actually win. HeyMax cannot lead loyalty in Asia. Rakuten's there, Ascenda's there, every bank is there. It cannot lead cashback in Asia. ShopBack has already won that. It cannot lead travel booking. Agoda, Trip.com and Klook have won that. But there is a category it can lead, and in fact largely already does. The open-loop travel currency and redemption network for Asia-Pacific, the layer that turns anyone's points into any airline's miles. HeyMax defined that category. It has the only consumer brand in it, and as I explained earlier, every serious incumbent is structurally conflicted about entering it. Leadership means one specific thing. When any bank, coalition, retailer or fintech in Asia-Pacific decides its points need travel redemption, HeyMax is the first call. 5 pillars to get there. Pillar 1. Own the redemption supply, don't rent it. This is first for a reason. Partner count went from 37 to about 20 in 2026, against a target of 50 plus by 2027. So that's now a 2.5 times build in 18 months from a reduced base, while simultaneously trying to lower cost per mile. Those two goals are in tension because the cheap partners are the ones already signed. The plan: direct contract the top 20 programs with multi-year terms, volume-tiered pricing, and critically, notice provisions on price changes. Get back the programs the community most missed: Marriott, Hilton, Hyatt. Push for preferential tier arrangements, not full exclusivity. Airlines resist that, but something like best available rate to any non-bank partner in Southeast Asia. Why is this Pillar 1? Because it's the only action HeyMax can take that pays off 3 separate ways. It cuts cost of goods sold, it builds the only real moat available, and it removes the Ascenda dependency. Nothing else on the list does all 3. Pillar 2. Make B2B the business, and say so out loud. 19% of revenue today. No published API documentation, no published pricing, no security or compliance page, no Tier 1 logo, and no senior commercial leader. So hire a chief commercial officer with airline loyalty or card network experience. That is, in my view, the single most important hire in the company, and David Lee, the former president of Visa Asia Pacific, who's on the cap table, is the sourcing channel. Then publish the platform: API reference, sandbox, integration guides, pricing tiers, service levels, and a security page with a SOC 2 roadmap. Banks buy compliance before they buy product. Right now, one API is a marketing claim with no public surface, and real infrastructure companies publish documentation because that's how they get bought. Productize it into 3 clear things you can sell. Buy max miles for your customers, keep your own currency and plug in our redemption, or let us run the whole program. And land 2 lighthouse accounts by mid-2027. Price aggressively, the logo is worth more than the margin. Pillar 3. Grow through coalitions, not through signups. Here's the uncomfortable arithmetic. HeyMax has publicly targeted 1 million users by the end of 2026. They were at 150,000 in January. That requires nearly 7 times growth in 11 months, from a base that grew 25% in the preceding 8. On the current trajectory, they reach somewhere between 220 and 280,000. That target is not achievable through app downloads. It's only achievable if a large user base gets migrated in at once, which is exactly what a coalition deal does. They've already done this twice. U Rewards Club in Singapore, Octopus in Hong Kong. The template works. Now do it once per market. Line points in Taiwan. Flybuys or everyday rewards in Australia. Flybuys alone has 8.6 million members, which is 57 times HeyMax's entire user base at 0 acquisition cost. Ponta, or a JCB consortium in Japan. Bonus Link or Touch, Go in Malaysia. One coalition deal is worth more than a year of organic acquisition and costs a fraction as much. And a related recommendation, reset the 1 million user target publicly. Replace it with an engagement metric, monthly actives, share of wallet, miles redeemed. Missing a loudly stated public target damages Series B credibility far more than changing it does. Pillar 4. Close the share of wallet gap. This is the highest return work available anywhere in this company. Here's the number that should keep the product team awake. HeyMax's own marketing says an average Singaporean household could earn 25 to 50,000 max miles a year. The actual realized average across their registered users is about 3,300. HeyMax is capturing somewhere around 7 to 12% of the spending it could already be capturing from users it already has. Closing that gap requires no new users, no new market, no new merchant, and no new country team. How? 4 things. 1. Support MasterCard and American Express, not just Visa. Visa only is the single biggest constraint in the consumer product, and most Singaporeans carry cards from 3 or 4 issuers across networks. 2. Make card-linked earning the default instead of click-through, because click-through requires the user to remember, and card-linked requires nothing, and every mile earned without a click is a mile that doesn't generate a Where Are My Miles support ticket. 3. And this is the built lesson, own one enormous recurring category: insurance premiums, utilities, school fees, healthcare, rent. The chocolate finance deal already covered exactly these categories, and it was the most strategically interesting thing in that partnership, and it was treated as a footnote. 4. Aggressive defaults, extension auto-activation, one-tap re-earn on repeat merchants, notifications triggered by card signals. Target get miles per active user from 3,300 to 8,000 by the end of 2027. At constant users, that's 2.4 times the revenue. Pillar 5. Defend the currency's credibility as a first-class corporate asset. Publish a max miles value charter. Commit to a minimum 60-day notice on any devaluation. Commit to maintaining the Fly Anywhere floor. Commit to honoring in-flight HeyMax first drawdowns at the rate that applied when they were drawn. Fix the expiry contradiction. Publish the liability and the breakage assumption. A program that shows it's working gets trusted, one that doesn't get suspected. Now, one final strategic call, and it's the one I feel most strongly about. HeyMax has announced Japan, Taiwan, and Australia by the end of this year. My recommendation is, do not launch in Japan as a consumer brand, not this year, not next year. Rakuten Points has 59% penetration among Japanese consumers. D-Point has 39, PayPay Points has 38. Those aren't loyalty programs, they're ecosystems with telecoms, banks, and payment networks attached. A foreign open-loop currency walking in as a consumer brand has no wedge. And here's the thing, every single one of those programs needs better travel redemption, which is precisely what HeyMax sells. Japan is a B2B market for HeyMax, not a consumer one. Adding Japan Airlines as a transfer partner in July was exactly the right first move. And that generalizes into my headline recommendation on expansion: slow the consumer expansion, accelerate the B2B expansion. B2B market entry needs a contract and an integration. It doesn't need a marketing team, a support hub, and a brand campaign. It's faster, cheaper, higher margin, more defensible, and it's available in all 5 announced markets right now.